Hello everybody, welcome back to Gringa Spanish. I'm your personal Spanish tutor, Christy, and today we are going to talk about irregular verbs in the present tense. So in the last lessons we talked about regular verbs and the rules that are used to conjugate the three types of Spanish verbs, AR, ER, IR, the last two letters of the verb, into the present tense form. So just like in English, there are rules that you follow to conjugate a verb. Conjugate means when you take a verb in the infinitive form. In English, that would be like to run, to jump, to swim. It's the concept of the verb. It doesn't tell you who did it or when they did it. Conjugate means you take that infinitive form and put it into a form that tells you who did it and when they did it. So who did it means me, first person, you, second person, he, third person, and so on. And when they did it is present tense, I run, you run, he runs, past tense, I ran, you ran, he ran. In English, you can kind of see that there are rules that you follow, even though in Spanish originally it seems a little more complicated initially. Just take the example run and jump. I run, he runs. You can see in the third person you add an S. You do that without thinking about it. It's the same thing for jumps. I jump, you jump, he jumps. That gets an S on the end. So there are rules about the different forms depending on who's doing it and when they did it. But irregular verbs don't follow those rules. They're called irregular because the rules don't apply to them. And you just have to know which ones they are. I know that sounds really scary initially, but the good news is that they're really easy to learn for two reasons. First of all, they tend to sound really, really weird if you try to apply the regular rules to them. It's going to sound wrong. The more experience you get with Spanish, talking to people, listening to it, you're just going to, when you try to say that word, you're going to be like, no, I've never heard that. That's wrong. And the second reason is these tend to be really, really common words, and your probably reaction is going to be like, oh my god, like, that's worse. Like, I have to memorize this right now. But it's the other way around, because you're going to hear it so many times, you're going to remember it without even trying. Okay, so today, there are a lot of irregular verbs, but today we're just going to go over what I think are the three most important by far, and then I'm going to give you 7 more for a total of 10 common and useful irregular verbs. And I think starting with these is going to put you in a really good place for your progress in Spanish. So the 3 that I think are the most important are ir, which means to go, IR. Ser means to be. You use that for permanent traits like I am beautiful, I am smart. Estar also means to be, ESTAR, but that's used for impermanent things like I am tired, I am bored. So I'm going to tell you all 10 words and then we're going to go through them. I'm going to conjugate them for you. That's the most important thing. The most important thing that you can take away from this video is remembering those. And I want you to be able to re-watch this, skip the first couple of minutes of me explaining things, and just hear the different forms over and over so that you can get them in your head, because that's what's going to help you remember them. So I'm going to just read over the conjugation once. I'll tell you a couple things about which forms are regular, which forms are irregular. Then I'm going to read through the conjugations again. And then if there's anything interesting about the word, any important example, I'll let you know. Okay, so here are the words we're going to go over today. The big 3 are ir, which means to go, IR. Ser, that means to be, SER. Estar, ESTAR, that means to be. Tener, that means to have, TENER. Poder, that means to be able, PODER. Hacer, HACER, that means to do or to make. Decir, that means to say, DECIR. Ver, VER, that means to see. Saber, SABER, that means to know. And pensar, PENSAR, that means to think. And I just want to remind everybody, conjugation.org is a free website. Just type that into Google or whatever. And this website, you type in the infinitive form and it will give you all of the conjugations in Spanish. It is super easy. I use this to double check things all the time if I'm writing in Spanish or whatever the case is. Conjugation.org, you type in the infinitive, it will conjugate any word for you. You can check if it has any irregular forms, because some verbs are regular in the present tense, but irregular in the past tense. They don't follow the rules for the past tense. Some verbs are the other way around. Maybe some of these, I don't know off the top of my head for sure, but some of these words probably, even though they're irregular in the present tense, they might be regular in the past tense. Just type the infinitive in on conjugation.org if you want to see all the different forms of a verb. Okay, ir, to go, ir. Yo voy, tú vas, él va, nosotros vamos, vosotros vais, ellos van, ustedes van. Okay, so IR seems kind of weird, right? Because it's just IR. That's the ending. How do you change that into the different endings for the regular rules, right? So right off the bat, you can see that IR probably isn't going to follow the rules. Tú, él, nosotros, vosotros, and ustedes kind of look like the AR versions, right? But they start with a V. There's no V in the infinitive version. Tú vas, él va, nosotros vamos, vosotros vais, ellos van. The easiest way to remember those versions is it's like the AR conjugations, but there's a V at the beginning. Yo is really the one that's very unexpected based on just the infinitive. Yo voy. You have to remember that. Yo voy. I go. Okay, so let's talk about them again. Yo voy. I go. Tú vas. You go. Él va. He goes. Usted va. You go. Nosotros vamos. We go. Vosotros vais. You all go. Ellos van. They go. Ustedes van. They go. So ir is also super, super useful. In English, you say, I'm going to the store. I go to school. I go to swim practice. I go to dance practice. We use this word all the time, so you want to remember how to conjugate it. Another really, really useful thing about ir is that you can use this word to hack talking in the future tense, just like you do in English. It's not only you can say, I go to the store, you're going to a place. You can say, I am going to do something, the same as in English, and therefore, you can talk about something that you haven't yet done. So, in English, you say, I am going to swim. In Spanish, you would say, yo voy a nadar. So you say, yo voy a, and then the thing that you are going to do in the infinitive form. And you can use that for other people too. Like in English, you can say, you're going to swim. You're going to dance. You can say, tú vas a nadar. Tú vas a bailar. Nadar means to swim. Bailar means to dance. Okay. Ser, to be, S-E-R. Yo soy, I am. Tú eres, you are. Él es, he is. Usted es, you are. Nosotros somos, we are. Vosotros sois, you all are. Ellos son, they are. Ustedes son, you all are. So all of the forms of these are irregular. I put a little I here so you can see none of these follow the rules. And you can also see by looking at S-E-R, ser, that would be super weird to try to just drop the ER and then put on the ER endings that we learned about. Let's go through them again. Yo soy, I am. Tú eres, you are. Él es, he is. Usted es, you are. Nosotros somos, we are. Vosotros sois, you all are. Ellos son, they are. Ustedes son, you are. You all are. Okay, so remember, ser is to talk about permanent traits. Like, yo soy americana. I am American. Yo soy bonita. I am beautiful. Those are permanent things that don't change. Okay, let's go over to estar, which also means to be. Yo estoy. Tú estás. Él está. Nosotros estamos. Vosotros estáis. Ellos están. Ustedes están. All of the forms of estar are irregular except nosotros and vosotros. You're going to see that a lot. The nosotros and vosotros versions follow the rules that they should, which in this case are the AR rules for estar, which ends in an AR. You might look at this and go like, wait, the other ones except for yo look like they also follow the rules, and you're really, really close. They do, except that the A at the end has an accent, which makes it irregular because normally the endings do not have an accent. So pay close attention. Estás, that has an accent over the A. Está, that has an accent over the A. Ellos están, that has an accent over the A. Now, again, the first person form, the yo form, that one is the curveball there. It has a Y at the end. You're going to see that a lot of times with the irregular verbs for the yo form. Some of them have a Y at the end. So estar is one of them. Yo estoy. I am bored. I am tired. Yo estoy cansada. Yo estoy aburrida. That means I'm bored, I'm tired. Well, I said it the other order. Okay, so let's go through them again. Yo estoy. Tú estás. Él está. Nosotros estamos. Vosotros estáis. Ellos están. Ustedes están. Okay. Next is tener. That means to have. That is a really, really useful word. You can use it the same ways that you use it in English. You don't only need to talk about objects like I have a cat, I have a computer. You can talk about things that you have to do. I have practice. I have to work. Things like that. Same uses as in English. Okay, so tener, that's T-E-N-E-R. The infinitive means to have. Yo tengo, I have. T-E-N-G-O. Yo tengo, I have. Tú tienes, you have. Él tiene, he has. Usted tiene, you have. Nosotros tenemos, we have. Vosotros tenéis, you all have. Ellos tienen, they have. Ustedes tienen, you all have. You'll see here, again, the nosotros and vosotros versions follow the ER rules, tener. The rest of them don't. So the other versions kind of almost follow it, but what happens is that the first E in tener becomes an IE. Tener. Tú tienes. T-I-E-N-E-S. Él tiene. T-I-E-N-E. So you're going to see that sometimes with irregular verbs that the first part of the word will change a little bit. Okay. And again, the yo one is the one that's the most different. There's a G there that wasn't there before. Yo tengo. But you're going to say I have all of the time, and you're not even going to think about this ever again. Okay. Yo tengo. I have. Tú tienes. You have. Él tiene. He has. Usted tiene. You have. Nosotros tenemos. We have. Vosotros tenéis. You all have. Ellos tienen. They have. Ustedes tienen. You all have. Okay. So in English, if you want to say you have to do something, you say I have, and then you use the infinitive form. You say I have to swim. I have to work. In Spanish, you use the word que to connect. Q-U-E. Like, you've probably heard the phrase ¿qué pasa? Same word. Q-U-E. So you say tener and then que, and then the infinitive form of whatever it is that you have to do. So if I want to say I have to do something, I say yo tengo que ir a la tienda. I have to go to the store. Yo tengo que practicar. I have to practice. Yo tengo que trabajar. I have to work. Okay. All right, poder, P-O-D-E-R, means to be able. That sounds kind of weird because it doesn't sound like a verb in English, but in English you say all the time, I can't go to the party because of this. I can do this. You can't do this. So this verb in Spanish is going to allow you to say those things. So P-O-D-E-R, to be able. Yo puedo. Tú puedes. Él puede. Usted puede. Nosotros podemos. Vosotros podéis. Ellos pueden. Again, see the first part of the word changed from an O to a UE. Yo puedo. The infinitive is poder, P-O-D-E-R. And then conjugated, all of the forms except nosotros and vosotros, the O becomes a UE. Yo puedo. Tú puedes. Él puede. Nosotros podemos. Vosotros podéis. Ellos pueden. Okay, so in Spanish, if you want to say, I can't go to the party, you would say, no puedo ir a la fiesta. I can't babysit. Yo no puedo cuidar a tu niña. Cuidar means to take care of. So you can also use it to say, I can do something. Yo puedo hacer something. Hacer means to do, as you're about to learn. Same uses as in English. You don't normally think of it as a verb, but in Spanish it is. Okay, our next word is hacer, which means to do or to make. That's H-A-C-E-R, hacer. Yo hago. Tú haces. Él hace. Usted hace. Nosotros hacemos. Vosotros hacéis. Ellos hacen. Ustedes hacen. So the only irregular form here is the first person form, yo. The rest of them follow the ER rules. Super, super simple. Okay, so the only one you have to remember there is yo hago. That means I do or I make. Now, I know that initially those two words, to do and to make, sound like how can they be part of the same word? But the uses are really, really similar to in English. So if you want to say I do ballet, you can say yo hago ballet. If you want to say pretty much anything, to make, I know that that sounds really weird, but the uses are also really similar to in English. Make means you can make an object. Like when you say this was made in China, you're actually saying hecho in China. That is, I think it's called the past participle form of this word. Like made in China is the past participle version of make. In Spanish, you use the past participle version of hacer, made in China, hecho en China. It also means when you force somebody to do something, like my mom made me do my homework, you can use hacer. Here I put the example, me hace trabajar. She makes me work. So that could be my homework. That could be a different type of work. Your mom made you do yard work. Me hace trabajar. She made you do something. So even though initially it's like to do or make, like how does that make sense? The uses for both of those different things are pretty much the same as in English. So let's go over it one more time. Yo hago. I do. Tú haces. You do. Él hace. He does. Usted hace. You do. Nosotros hacemos. We do. Vosotros hacéis. You all do. Ellos hacen. They do. Ustedes hacen. You do. So just another example I can think of off the top of my head. If you want to say, we do Zumba at 9 o'clock. You go to LA Fitness and you say, oh, what time do you guys do Zumba? And they say, we do Zumba at 9 o'clock. They would say, hacemos Zumba, and then the time. So you use this word all the time, and it's really, really useful. Next we have decir, D-E-C-I-R. That means to say. Yo digo, I say. Tú dices, you say. Él dice, he says. Usted dice, you say. Nosotros decimos, we say. Vosotros decís, you all say. Ellos dicen, they say. Ustedes dicen, you all say. So as you can see, again, the nosotros and the vosotros versions follow the correct rules, the IR words, and then the other forms are the irregular in the present tense versions. Again, the yo form is the one that is the weirdest and furthest away from following the rules. Decir, so for all of the irregular ones, the E becomes an I. So decir, D-E-C-I-R. But when you conjugate it, it's tú dices, D-I-C-E-S. Él dice, D-I-C-E. So that E becomes an I. Alright. And then the yo is the really weird one, yo digo, I say. So that sounds weird because in English it sounds weird, like I say whatever. I mean, you can use it as an exclamation, but it's really useful to know all of the forms, especially in the past tense. You'll say, I told her this, I said this. But the other versions are really useful as well in the present tense. You can say, they said this, they say this. Like you went to LA Fitness, they said Zumba was at 9 o'clock. Dicen que la clase de Zumba es, and then at the time. So they say, you say, we're always doing he said, she said. You need to know how to do it in Spanish. Yo digo, I say. Tú dices, you say. Él dice, he says. Usted dice, you say. Nosotros decimos, we say. Vosotros decís, you all say. Ellos dicen, they say. Ustedes dicen, you say. Okay, the next word we have is ver, V-E-R. That means to see. Yo veo, I see. Tú ves, you see. Él ve, he sees. Usted ve, you see. Nosotros vemos, we see. Vosotros veis, you all see. Ellos ven, they see. Ustedes ven, you see. Okay, so here, super easy. The only irregular version is actually the yo form. So ver is really similar to ser, but in this case, you do, for most of the versions except the yo, just follow the ER rules. It works for all of them except yo. Yo becomes veo, not just vo. That sounds really, really weird. If you never heard it, I've never heard it either, so if you think it sounds wrong, it's probably wrong. The yo form is veo, not vo. Okay. Yo veo. Tú ves. Él ve. Usted ve. Nosotros vemos. Vosotros veis. Ellos ven. Ustedes ven. So you might say, when am I going to use this word? But the same times that you do in English. If you say, like, I see McDonald's over there, I want to go. Yo veo el McDonald's. You're on vacation. I see a mountain over there. Yo veo una montaña. But it is hard to talk about what other people see in the present tense. Well, I guess maybe not really. You could say, do you see that? ¿Tú ves eso? It becomes a question. It also, ver, I included this example because it's a little different from in English, although it is also kind of similar. I know that doesn't help at all. But when you say you look pretty, you say te ves bonita. You look pretty. So this te is really the only way that it differs from English, but you have to put it in there. Te ves bonita. That makes it a reflexive verb, which is a little different than in English, but we'll talk about the exact mechanics of reflexive verbs later. For now, just remember, you want to compliment somebody, te ves bonita, you look pretty. You can, if you want to insult somebody, you can also say te ves fea or te ves feo. That means you look ugly. So that's how you say somebody looks like something. Also for your knowledge, if you want to say the third person form, él se ve bonito. Ella se ve bonita. So instead of a te, which is when you're talking to somebody, you would use se, which is the third person form of that of this word right here. And then the third person form of ver. So se ve bonita. She looks pretty. Okay. I don't want to overwhelm you guys. We'll talk about reflexive verbs later. Okay, guys, we're down to our last two. This is taking longer than I thought it would, but these are all really, really important verbs. Saber means to know. Yo sé. Tú sabes. Él sabe. Usted sabe. Nosotros sabemos. Vosotros sabéis. Ellos saben. Ustedes saben. So here again, the only irregular version is the yo form. You would think it's yo sabo, but it's not. It's yo sé. That's what you're going to have to remember. Yo sé means I know. We use this all of the time. You can say, I know you did this. Yo sé que. You say, again, just like before with tener, que becomes the connecting word. If you want to say you know something, you say, yo sé que. I know that. And for any other form too. You can say, you know that. Tú sabes que. Él sabe que. He knows that. Okay, so let's go through them again. Yo sé, I know. Tú sabes, you know. Él sabe, he knows. Nosotros sabemos, we know. Vosotros sabéis, you all know. Ellos saben, they know. Ustedes saben, you know. Pensar is the last one. That means to think. So I think that you look pretty. I think blah blah blah. I think this. I think that. We use the word think a lot, and you're going to see that again. That this pensar becomes an ie, and then aside from that, actually the word follows the AR rules. You just have to remember to change the en to an ie for all of the forms except nosotros and vosotros, okay? Yo pienso, I think. Tú piensas, you think. Él piensa, he thinks. Usted piensa, you think. Nosotros pensamos, we think. Vosotros pensáis, you all think. Ellos piensan, they think. Ustedes piensan, you think. You all think. So the uses are exactly the same as in English. I think that Santa Claus is coming. Yo pienso que va a venir Santa Claus. Whatever you think, whatever you feel, pensar. Okay. All right, guys. That's our last word. So that covers, for me, what I think are the top 10 irregular verbs in the present tense in Spanish that you need to know. And I would say remember the big three: ir, to go, and remember that you can use this to hack talking about in the present tense. Yo voy a, I am going to. Yo voy a trabajar, I'm going to work. Yo voy a practicar, I'm going to practice. So ir, your best friend. Ser, to be, and these talk about permanent traits, and estar, also to be. These talk about impermanent traits. Estar also says where somebody is. So, yo estoy en la oficina. I'm in the office. Yo estoy en el club. I'm in the club. Yo estoy en la playa. I am on the beach. Where's your brother? Él está en la playa. He's on the beach. So, estar also is used for location. Okay, guys, this video, 10 words, was longer than I thought it would be, but I think these are really important for you to know on your Spanish journey. All right, well, we'll continue next time. Have a good day.